I'm just hoping that he might see this and feel racked with guilt. My name's Guy Barker, I'm a musician and I'm in the Royal Albert Hall archives, which is very exciting. This is from one of the Henry Wood Promenade concerts in August 1962. And the reason I've chosen it is because there was a fantastic performance here of Stravinsky's Rite of Spring. And Stravinsky's Rite of Spring was the very first piece I ever saw at the Royal Albert Hall. It was a piece that kind of completely captured me when I was 14 years old. I was on tour with my school brass band, and me and my friend were staying in this one place with this family, and upstairs in the bedroom they'd given us, he brought on tour with him a record player, and he had a recording, an LP of the Rite of Spring, and I'd never heard it in my life. I was kind of transfixed by it. I couldn't work out what I was listening to, and just as it got to the end of the first side, the lady who was looking after us, we could hear her calling up the stairs saying, "Boys, your dinner's on the table," you know. And so my friend was about to take the record off, and I just looked at him with stern eyes and I said, "Turn it over." He said, "But she wants," I said, "Turn it over." And I refused to go down. We got into so much trouble. The great thing about this particular concert was it's celebrating Stravinsky's 80th birthday. They played his Symphony in C, as well as the Rite of Spring, and his Oedipus Rex. And it's a piece where I always try and go and see it perform live once a year at least. So the next thing I found is this wonderful programme here of the Count Basie Orchestra with Georgie Fame at a concert in 1967. I worked with Georgie Fame for many, many, many years, and he was just amazing vocalist, amazing musician, incredible feel in his music. And he was a huge fan of the Count Basie Orchestra. And I think the great Tubby Hayes did an arrangement of Georgie's hit, Yeah, Yeah. And the Basie band started with that. And apparently the evening began with the Basie band on stage, and Georgie went up to the microphone and looked out at the audience and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my dream." And then off they went. I just started at the Royal College of Music, and the phone rang and my dad answered it, and he came back and he said, "Son, it's Georgie Fame on the phone," you know. He asked if I could do a gig, and I couldn't do it because I was playing a concert I was at the Royal College of Music, and they wouldn't have let me off. It was about 10 years later he called me again, and then that was it. I worked with him ever since. I remember now, when we came to the Albert Hall to see Benny Goodman, he had a great English trumpet player who's no longer with us, a very famous lead trumpet called Derek Watkins. My best friend at the time was learning the clarinet, and he'd sneaked in this little cassette player and was recording the gig. We were way in the back somewhere. And Derek could play these incredibly high notes, and I remember he played, you know, this ridiculously high note at the end. And I just turned to my friend and I said, he can play higher on the trumpet than you can on the clarinet. And he said, "That's not possible." I said, "Well, I think it is. He's just done it." He said, "No." He said, "Did you record it?" He said, "Yes." So we went straight home. We got my dad to drive us to his house to get the piano, and he played it back, and then we were playing the notes. And I left very proud because the trumpet could play higher than his clarinet. This amazing instrument, this trumpet, was played in the opening night, the opening ceremony of the Royal Albert Hall in 1871, made by Butler Trumpets in the Haymarket in London. There you go. We never knew they made trumpets in Haymarket. And look at it. It's beautiful, isn't it? And I'm trying to work out what key it's in, because the only way I can find out is by blowing it, and I won't blow it. But it's in really good nick. I won't give it a blow because I've got a feeling it could let me down. I think it's got some leaks in it, you know. There's some little spots where the air comes out the side, which means it's not going to all come out of here. Played by a Mr. C. Bailey, and it was found with a police raid in Milton Keynes. Goodness gracious me. Well, my very first trumpet, which was made by Dave Monette in Chicago, that got stolen from a band room in a jazz club in Hoxton Square in 1985. And that ended up in Germany. And I found it, but the guy had obviously bought it from somewhere, and he kind of freaked out when I showed him the police report and all that, and he refused to answer my calls or anything because he said, I'm holding. I said, you didn't steal it. I'm not saying you said. I would have loved to have had it back. I would have paid him for it because it was very, but you know, I'm just hoping that he might see this and feel racked with guilt. But that's amazing, it really is. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this and look at the archives and some things that meant a lot to me. I've particularly enjoyed not trying to play the trumpet as well, because I could have done, but I decided not to, you know.